Hey everyone, Jim Branscombe here for the Cinematic Void vlog. Today I'm going to be doing another list, but it's only going to be a 5-film list, not the usual top 10. And the reason being, it's not really a list of rankings of films that, I like or of any kind of subject, but I figured it'd be kind of fun to do a 5-film recommendation for things to watch on Valentine's Day, but with a Cinematic Void bent to it. And yes, I'm well aware Valentine's is just a holiday created by the greeting card companies and whatnot, but a lot of people celebrate it, and a lot of people enjoy going to dinner and getting flowers, yes, flowers like this, and candy, and obviously like watching movies. So I figured if you're looking for something to watch this Valentine's Day, let me just offer you 5 recommendations. Now, I try to vary them up so there's different kinds, and they're not, various degrees of romantic or not romantic, and let's be real, some of these are going to be really messed up, but it's Cinematic Void after all. So here are my 5 film recommendations for things for you to watch on Valentine's Day, if you're so inclined. At the number 5 spot on my Valentine's recommendation list is a film directed by Lucio Fulci. Yes, the Lucio Fulci who directed Zombie, The Beyond, Gates of Hell, Lizard and Woman Skin, all those Italian horror classics, but this isn't a horror movie. This is kind of a, well, it's not kind of, it's a erotic thriller / erotic drama. And I'm talking about 1986's The Devil's Honey. For those you who haven't seen the movie, which, if I'm getting a recommendation, I'm kind of going to assume you haven't seen, but I don't want to spoil it, but I just want to give you enough to tease you into watching it. Although, this is going to be kind of a tough sell, but anyway. Basically, a woman kidnaps a doctor that she holds responsible for the death of her lover. She's got him tied up and begins to torture him. But as the story unfolds, she starts to kind of realize that her ex-lover wasn't that great of a guy, and, starts having some moral questions why she has this guy kind of tied up that she's torturing. And that's not to say the doctor has had completely, not a bad person. He's in a loveless marriage, and he tells his wife that he can't make love to her while, on the down low, he's buying call girls to make love to. So it's complicated, it's really messy, it's like a lot of relationships. Well, it's probably like no relationship really, but if you want to see a different side of Lucio Fulci's filmography, definitely check out The Devil's Honey. Severin Films put it out on 4K and Blu-ray pretty recently, and yeah, right here on the back it says it's a sleazy masterpiece, which yeah, it really is. A couple things I want to make a note of. It has a very infamous scene involving a saxophone, and you get to see a very unusual use of nail polish as well. So if you're looking for something sleazy, a little bit different, and watch a film from an undisputed master of Italian horror that isn't a horror movie, definitely check out The Devil's Honey. At number 4 on my Valentine's recommendation list is a movie from 1982 from Germany. I'm talking about Der Fan, or The Fan, and the reason why I'm saying Der Fan is because there's a couple other movies called The Fan. There's one with Lauren Bacall, and there's the one with Wesley Snipes and Robert De Niro, but the one I'm talking about is this one. This is a Blu-ray put out by Mondo Macabro. This is the limited edition one with the red case or whatever, which is out of print, but I think you can get a standard version now pretty easily. For those who haven't seen it, basically a young girl named Simone is completely obsessed with a kind of synth-pop new wave artist called R and his band, and loves his music and sends him letters all the time, and just is in love with him. Like a lot of young people fall in love with musicians or other artists or actors, that kind of stuff. It's infatuation, but she takes it another step further where she runs away from home to go see R perform at a TV station somewhere, and she gets to meet him, and he is taken by her. He likes her, so he brings her inside, gives her the VIP treatment, and then takes her to one of his friends' place to make love to her. And she thinks this is the beginning of a whole new world. She's with the person that she loves the most. However, R is not a great guy. He basically just used her and then wants to kick her to the curb, but Simone ain't playing that. And Simone basically literally takes the Joy Division song Love Will Tear Us Apart and kind of just murders R, chops him up, grinds his bones, and eats it. Yeah, really Valentine's Day centric. I actually showed this for around Valentine's Day back in 2024, and it's a great movie. It has a great soundtrack by a band called Reinhold, who's like a synth pop, like new wave band, which does all the music in the movie. You can actually hear their songs in some other movies too, but Really catchy soundtrack, really interesting movie. Again, Mondo Macabro put it out on Blu-ray, but it also screens theatrically thanks to AGFA, who controls the theatrical rights on it. So hopefully someone around your area is showing it for Valentine's Day. And even if it's not Valentine's Day, if you happen to see it playing it on the big screen, definitely go check it out. So yeah, number 4 is The Fan or Der Fan. At the number 3 spot on my Valentine's recommendation list is a movie that will absolutely wreck you. Get it? Because the main part of the movie involves car crashes. Of course, I'm talking about 1996's Crash, directed by the great David Cronenberg, one of the all-time great genre filmmakers, Videodrome, Scanners, The Brood. For those who haven't seen Crash, it's basically a guy gets in a car accident and finds out that he's kind of turned on by the whole wrecking of cars and stuff, and lo and behold, he finds a whole subculture of people that are into the same kind of stuff. So it's a movie of, lots of love and car crashes. This movie was very controversial when it came out. It caused a whole big thing at the Cannes Film Festival where I think Francis Ford Coppola was the head of the jury and hated the movie, but everyone else on the panel kind of loved it. So the Cannes jury gave Crash a very special award. I can't remember what the wording is. I think it had audacious in the title, but it's the only time that this award was given at the Cannes Film Festival. It also ran into some issues over here. It obviously, because it deals with sex and car crashes, it got an NC-17 rating over here, and it was distributed by Fine Line Features, which was kind of the art house offshoot of New Line Cinema. Maybe it's called Fine Line Cinema. I can't remember what it is, but it's called Fine Line. It's the art house imprint of New Line, which at the time, through all the corporate chains and stuff, was owned by Ted Turner, media mogul, Turner Classic Movies and, Atlanta Braves, and controlled a lot of media. And he really, really was upset about this movie, and he didn't want it to come out. He didn't want New Line, Fine Line to put out. And Bob Shea, who ran New Line Cinema and Fine Line, because it's his art house offshoot, fought against him, and it got theatrical release. But that doesn't end there, because this movie came out in the 90s, and there is a certain big video rental chain by the name of Blockbuster, which is very beloved now. I can understand why, but they would not carry NC-17 movies. In fact, they had enough power at the time to demand R-rated cuts of movies. They had no unrated, no NC-17, everything had to be R-rated or less. So basically, in order to have Crash in the video store, there had to be an R-rated version, which was included on the original Crash DVD. It's not included on this. And honestly, why would you want to watch it? Because it's taking out the big selling point. It's a movie about sex and car crashes. Then it just becomes a movie about car crashes and people who get sort of excited and then don't follow through. And how long is the R-rated cut? 20 minutes? But anyway, Criterion Collection put out a nice Blu-ray and 4K of this movie. I'm actually going to be showing a 35mm print of this for my Valentine's Day series, along with Tammy and T-Rex and a couple other titles. But if you haven't seen it yet and you have a little bit of a kinky side, hey, Crash for Valentine's Day. Number 2 on my Valentine's Day recommendation list is a movie that was released in 1975, directed by Peter Weir, who directed things like The Last Wave. I'm talking about Picnic at Hanging Rock, which is also based on a book. Now, if you're wondering, how is this a Valentine's Day movie? Well, let me explain. For those who haven't seen it, basically a group of schoolgirls and one of their teachers goes out for a picnic at Hanging Rock on Valentine's Day in 1900. And something happens and a whole group of those girls and one of the teachers vanishes without a trace. No one knows what happened. And they send out search parties, and it just becomes a mystery that starts tearing apart the school and everyone involved with it. It's weird, it's dark, there's more questions than answers. It's a really great watch. And the reason why I put it on my list is because it takes place on Valentine's Day. So if you want something dark and unusual, definitely check it out. There's obviously this Blu-ray of it, but I think there's a 4K coming out because Janus, who is the parent company of the Criterion Collection, has put out a 4K release of this that's playing theatrically right now. Actually just played the American Cinematheque at the Egyptian Theater, and I think it's playing in New York and probably be playing at other art houses and places like that very soon. Probably be a screening around Valentine's somewhere, or if not, definitely grab the Blu-ray or wait for the new 4K release, but highest possible recommendation. I really love this movie, and if you want something dark and don't want a whole kissy face type of Valentine's Day movie, hey, Picnic at Hanging Rock. And at the number 1 spot for my Valentine's Day recommendation list is a movie directed by the great David Lynch, who just passed away. It's a movie that stars Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, also has Diane Ladd, Willem Dafoe, Harry Dean Stanton, Crispin Glover, tons of people from Twin Peaks like Jack Nance and Cheryl Lee. What I'm talking about is Wild at Heart from 1990. For those who haven't seen it, Sailor and Lula are madly in love and they're running away from her mom, who's sending out a bunch of different weirdos and cretins to kill Sailor and get her daughter back. This is a really great movie. It's based on a book by Barry Gifford, who co-wrote the screenplay with Lynch. But I really like this one. It's a little different from a lot of David Lynch stuff because it's probably got the craziest collection of characters for any of his films or TV shows, which is saying something because of Twin Peaks and everything he's made. But I also think it's a lot of fun. It's really romantic. You know, Cage and Dern have really great chemistry together, and I think it's a perfect Valentine's Day movie. And I want to give a shout out to my friend KJ at the Academy, who's playing this on 35mm at the Academy, and I'm gonna try to go out and see it then because, it's my #1 pick for a thing to watch on Valentine's Day. And there's all kinds of other cool stuff in it. There's obviously Lynch's really hammering home his love of Wizard of Oz throughout, which you'll see once you watch it. This was another movie that was controversial at the Cannes Film Festival. It actually won the Palme d'Or, and the year it won, there was kind of a mix of boos and cheers, and it was kind of all over the place, but it won, and it's my personal favorite Lynch movie. But yeah, so if you haven't seen Wild at Heart, Shout Factory put this out on Blu-ray. I don't know if this is still in print, but I have a feeling that if it's not, someone's gonna probably be putting this back out on Blu-ray or 4K very, very soon. So yeah, Wild at Heart is my #1 Valentine's Day watch. So that is my 5 Valentine's Day recommendations. Sound in the comments, tell me some of your favorite Valentine's Day watches, or if you haven't seen any of these, or if you're gonna be checking them out this Valentine's Day. I deliberately left off things like My Bloody Valentine and Hospital Massacre, aka X-Ray, which is the other 80s Valentine's Day slasher, just because I already assumed a lot of you would probably already be watching My Bloody Valentine, either the original or the remake, and well, you can throw X-Ray in there. I love it a lot. It's pretty crazy. There's an old Blu-ray from Shout Factory, and there's a newer 4K Blu-ray that Vinegar Syndrome put out, which I think is, where is it at? Oh yeah, right here. Comes along with Schizoid, which is kind of another wacky little slasher. Makes for a good double feature. Or you can do the Boaz Davison double feature of Valentine's Day movies and watch X-Ray with The Last American Virgin. So yeah, throwing more recommendations out there. Again, let me know what you think of this list, and if you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all that stuff you're supposed to do on YouTube, help this channel grow, and I'll keep doing videos like this. And if you want me to do more kind of just recommendations as opposed to just personal favorite lists, sound off. I don't mind mixing things up. But until next time, see you in the void, and happy Valentine's Day. Huh, it's pretty good heart.
Are you gonna provide me with an opportunity to prove my love to my girl?